For the first time this year, Western Michigan will be playing at home against North Texas, coming off of a difficult loss to Michigan State. Western Michigan ended up losing 23-6, where the offense got shut out, and the only points that Western Michigan was able to put on the board was because of a pick six by Tate Halleck. But this is a pretty interesting matchup between Western Michigan and North Texas, just because I think North Texas has some really interesting offensive things that they do, and just really the depth that they have. And it really starts out with their quarterback, Drew Messamaker. He had a great game against Lamar. I know it's Lamar, obviously not the greatest opponent, but he was a guy that was able to really use the strength of this team to his advantage, and that is the depth of the wide receiver room. And Drew is pretty good at not only staying in the pocket, but just looking for his reads. And if his reads are open, moving to the next wide receiver after that, maybe even a tight end. Like, he is really good at looking for the open guy, and he's not going to be a guy that's really going to be someone that's going to panic. I think that's absolutely his strength. But then you look at this wide receiver room, and you have guys like Cameron Delmar. You have Wyatt Young that had a really big performance against Lamar. You have Miles Coleman. Those are just a few of the wide receivers room, and this is a wide receiver room that's full of experienced players. They had 6 guys returning from last year in this room to have at least 10 catches or more. I don't think there's probably very many wide receiver rooms around the country that can even say that. And I think that's going to really provide a unique matchup for this Western Michigan team that, while in the first half didn't perform necessarily the best against MSU, MSU was able to really do whatever they wanted. This was a Western Michigan defense that really started to step up in the second half, was able to get some pressure, didn't really allow Aiden Childs to hit his wide receiver. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. And then another really interesting matchup between this Western Michigan defense and what North Texas does is against Lamar, they only ran for an average of 3.2 yards per carry, which isn't necessarily the greatest in the world. So that's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on for. But another opponent of this that really is going to be the main component, I think, of this game is what is North Texas defense going to do against this Western Michigan offense. I think it truly starts for Western Michigan at the quarterback position. And I think it's going to be one of those games I would love to see Brock Lowry get a little bit more playing time in this game. And that's because against MSU, I think he had more moments than the other quarterback. I think he was able to use his legs. I think he was able to cause MSU some issues. I think I would like to see him a little bit more, especially against a defense that, one, shut out Lamar, which is the first time that they've done that since 2003. They only allowed 119 yards offensively, which is the fewest since giving up 95 yards in 1992. This is a defense from North Texas that is led by their new defensive coordinator, Skylar Cassidy. This is an offense from Western Michigan that struggled against Michigan State, weren't able to put up any points. They were able to get some big plays, but they weren't able to finish off the drive with a field goal. They did have one field goal opportunity that they ended up missing, but they weren't able to convert them into touchdowns. Now, I do think play calling maybe had a little bit to do with it, but I also think quarterback play, I think also blocking wasn't necessarily the greatest, and they also didn't have one of their running backs in this game, and I think that is really going to be a key component in this as well, is Cole Cabana. Will Cole Cabana be able to play in this game? Now, if he's not able to play in this game, you obviously have a guy like Jalen Buckley that's going to be your go-to running back again, and he's a really good running back, and this is a North Texas team that truly takes exceptions to stopping the run. Like, that is their defensive mentality, is stop the run. You have a Western Michigan team that offensively last year, I think, is going to be another key component of this offense this year, is running the ball. Like, it's going to be a really unique matchup when it comes to Western Michigan offense and North Texas's defense. If North Texas can stop the run, if North Texas can force Western Michigan to throw the ball, I think we could see a pretty similar performance to what they did offensively against Michigan State. Now, that means that they get absolutely shut out in that game? No, I don't think that means it whatsoever, because I think MSU, if you look at just the opponents that Western is going to play, I think MSU is probably one of the best, if not the best defensive that they're going to face. Now, obviously, is that saying that they're going to be one of the best defenses in the country? No, not necessarily. But when you look at the difference between like a MAC school in a Big Ten school versus a MAC school in Western and North Texas. There's a little bit of a bigger difference when it comes to MAC versus Big Ten versus North Texas and a MAC school. And I think that's really going to be the biggest difference in this game is how can Western Michigan show up? How are the fans going to show up? What's going to be the difference when it comes to a talent level? And heading into this game, it's a 9.5 point favorite for North Texas. So obviously, Western is predicted and the underdog in this game. Now, I do think Coach Lance Taylor will have these guys ready. I do think Waldo Stadium will be hopping. I think this is a really big opportunity for Western. I don't think you really, if you want to be Western, to go 0-2 to start the year. Now, you might be obviously favored to do that, but if you can get a bounce back game against this North Texas team, I really do think that's going to create a little bit of momentum for this team. And this is just a team that really needs any momentum that they can take when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. I think defensively, this Western team is going to be a pretty good defense for the most part. Now, do I think MSU struggles in the second half? Probably play a little bit of a factor in that, and they might struggle a little bit against North Texas. Yeah, it definitely could think that is a real possibility just because of how unique, like I said earlier, this North Texas team is. Like, if North Texas can throw the ball, if they can get the ball to their playmakers, they're not really going to have to run the ball too effectively. And if they run the ball effectively against Western Michigan, it's going to be a really long night because Western Michigan then would have to defend against the run and defend against wide receivers that not only have experience, but they have potential to make the big play and to really cause you issues. And that's exactly what they did against Lamar. That could be exactly what North Texas does to Western Michigan. And because of that, I actually have North Texas end up winning this game. I do think Western's going to end up covering the spread. I don't think it's going to be 9.5. I think it probably will be more of a touchdown type game. I think it will be a good game heading into the fourth quarter. I think this Western Michigan team will be prepared. I think they will be motivated. I think they are going to be coming off of that second half with the momentum to Michigan State. It's just really the biggest question mark of what is this offense going to do? Is it still going to be a 2 quarterback system? If it is still going to be a 2 quarterback system, what's the difference going to be? Because we saw a second half with Western Michigan that saw, I think, in my opinion, a little bit more potential there than maybe they saw in the first half. But we also saw the first drive that Western did against Michigan State had a pretty nice pass play. If they can continue to do that, they can get a little bit healthier. I think this is a Western offense that should be able to put up some points on this North Texas team. But it's a North Texas team that is loaded when it comes to wide receiver. They have a good quarterback that can read the defense. And that, for a lot of teams, is going to be a major issue, which I think is one of the reasons why Western Michigan ends up losing this game, unfortunately, at Waldo Stadium. So that's my thoughts on the game. What do you think? Do you think Western wins? Do you think North Texas wins? Let me know in the comments. Obviously, if you like this preview, there's other previews on the channel. There's going to be also the recap of this game a little later this week as well, after the game obviously takes place. So I'll talk a little bit about how this matchup goes, if I look smart, if I don't look smart. Obviously, these previews don't always go the way and predictions don't always go the way I think they go. But just looking at what we've seen through week one, I think North Texas is going to cause Western Michigan some issues defensively. I think there's way too many question marks offensively for this Western Michigan team for me to be confident to pick them in this game, even though it is a home game for them. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, tune in to the next previews and obviously the recap of this game when it comes out later this week or early next week.